You know what's interesting? Right now, somebody's grandmother is doing something with her hands that most people under 40 have absolutely no idea how to do. And when everything falls apart, when the grid goes down, when stores are empty, when your money means nothing, that skill is she doing right now? That becomes worth more than gold, not silver, not Bitcoin, not stockpiles of ammo. Her skill keeps families alive, feeds children, prevents disease. And here's the scary part. She's probably in her 70s or 80s, which means in 10 years, maybe 15, that knowledge dies with her. One generation. That's all it takes to lose 1,000 years of survival wisdom. Today I'm covering 10 skills your grandmother has that will be worth more than gold after economic collapse. Skills that kept families alive during the Depression, during World War II, during every crisis before modern convenience made us soft. Skills most of you watching this don't have. Yet. Let's fix that. Number 1, darning and invisible mending. Skill number 1. And most of you are going to scroll past this thinking it's not important. Darning and invisible mending. Now, before you click away saying, that's just sewing, stop. This is not sewing. It's a reconstruction. Let me show you why this skill becomes worth more than gold. Right now, you're wearing socks. $8, $10, $12 a pair. How long do they last? 6 months, maybe a year. Hole in the heel, hole in the toe trash. Buy new ones. Your grandmother sees 10 more years of use, not patching. Weaving new fabric into the old so you literally can't tell there was ever a hole. That's darning. When collapse hits, and it will, there's no Amazon, no Walmart. The socks you have are the only socks you'll have, unless you know how to darn. Picture this. Winter. 6 months grid down. Small heel holes, bigger holes, raw skin rubbing in a damp boot. Blister wound infection, no antibiotics. You can't walk, so you can't work, hunt, defend, or scavenge. Immobile in a collapse, all from a hole in a sock. Sounds dramatic? Go read about WWI trench foot and mass amputations. Foot health is life or death. Here's what darning does. A quarter-size hole, 500-year technique, warp and weft rebuilt. When she's done, you can't see it, can't feel it. One pair of wool socks, properly darned, lasts 10 years. Modern math. $120 on 10 pairs versus $30 on one good pair. Collapse math. New socks don't exist. Mobility is survival. The person who can actually repair textiles becomes essential and can trade for food, tools, medicine, security, tools. A darning egg, matching weight thread, low-tension mastery, fabric knowledge. This isn't a 5-minute YouTube hack. It's thousands of reps, 50 years of hands that just know. Learn now while she can correct you. Buy thrift socks, punch holes, practice 50, 100 times. Because when collapse comes, and your only good pair tears, she may not be there. That's skill number 1. Darning and invisible mending, the difference between mobile and immobile, infection and health, surviving or not. Number 2. Rendering fat and making lard. Most people hear animal fat and instantly think gross. We're not talking about cooking here. We're talking about resource extraction, turning waste into pure survival gold. Right now, butchers throw away the most valuable part of an animal, the fat scraps. Your grandmother? She turns that garbage into a renewable source of energy, food, light, medicine, and trade value. When collapse hits and cooking oil runs out, you'll wish you'd paid attention. No olive oil, no butter, no store-bought fats. Just the animals you can raise or hunt, and what you do with their fat decides if your community eats or starves. Rendering means slowly melting fat until it becomes clear, pure, shelf-stable oil. Do it wrong, too hot, too fast, and it burns, goes rancid, useless. Grandma knows the secret, low and slow. She watches bubbles, smells the shift, strains it twice. That's not luck, that's 50 years of practice. One pig gives 10 to 15 pounds of lard, a year's worth of cooking for a family if stored cool and dark. And that's just the start. Lard makes candles, soap, waterproofing for boots, salves, and confit meats that last for months without refrigeration. When everyone's starving, the person who can make clean, odorless lard becomes untouchable. One jar trades for food, tools, even medicine. Renewable trade, infinite value. Gold can't fry potatoes. Silver can't waterproof boots. Lard can. And here's what makes it rare precision. Grandma doesn't need a thermometer. She can tell by sound when the fat's ready. You won't learn that from YouTube. You learn it by standing beside her, stirring, watching, smelling. Do it now. Get scraps from a butcher, render your first batch, make mistakes while you can. Because when the grid's down and oil is gone, that jar of golden lard won't just cook your food, it might keep you alive. Number 3. Reading weather without technology. You think predicting the weather means checking an app. Big mistake. Your grandmother could tell you a storm was coming 2 days before it hit. No phone, no forecast, no radar, just experience. She didn't need satellites. She had the sky, the color before sunset, the way the wind shifted, the smell of the air before rain, all told her more than any meteorologist ever could. That's not guessing. That observation turned to survival. Now imagine this. The grid's down. No radio, no internet. You're planning to travel, harvest, or set camp, and you have no idea a storm is 24 hours away. When it hits, your fire's out, your gear's soaked, your food ruined, and hypothermia creeps in. All because you didn't know what the clouds were saying. Your grandmother did. She'd glance up and see the mare's tails thin, high wisps, and know a change was coming. Low, gray sheets moving fast, rain in hours, clouds building tall with dark bellies, thunderstorm. Wind suddenly shifting direction, fronts on the way. Animals know too, birds flying low, cows lying down, frogs loud before dark, all signs she learned by watching for decades. Her knees aching before rain. That wasn't superstition, it was barometric pressure. In a collapse, that skill is priceless. Knowing when to travel, plant, harvest, or take shelter means the difference between thriving and dying. Predict the wrong day to move, you get caught in a blizzard. Plant a week too soon, your entire crop fails. And here's the truth. You can't learn this from a book. You learn it by spending seasons, not seconds, outside, watching patterns, feeling pressure shifts, listening to silence before a storm. Number 4, vinegar, making and preservation. Everyone talks about stockpiling vinegar. Big mistake. Your grandmother didn't stock it. She made it from scraps you throw away. Apple cores, fruit peels, wine that went bad, nothing wasted. From garbage, she created one of the most powerful survival resources on Earth, vinegar. This isn't about cooking, it's about preservation, medicine, and sanitation. In a collapse, vinegar becomes the difference between rotting food and a full pantry, between infection and healing, between filth and cleanliness. Here's the genius. It's alive. Vinegar is made by harnessing a natural culture, the mother. You feed her sugar, water, and air. Over weeks, she converts alcohol into acetic acid, a self-renewing resource that never runs out. Grandma didn't need factories. She had a jar, patience, and knowledge. After the grid falls, canned goods disappear. You can't freeze. You can't refrigerate. But vinegar lets you pickle vegetables, preserving them for a year or more. 1 gallon of homemade apple vinegar could save hundreds of pounds of harvest from spoiling, and that's just one use. Vinegar disinfects wounds, cleans tools, kills mold, softens fabrics, removes rust, and balances acidity for safe canning. It's medicine, cleaner, and preservative, all from apple peels you'd normally toss in the trash. Modern people say, "I'll just buy some." But after the collapse, stores are gone. The person who can create vinegar from nothing becomes the town's chemist, healer, and preserver all in one. Grandma's process was simple, but exact. Glass jar, clean cloth lid, sugar water base, fruit scraps submerged. Wait 6 weeks, strain, and feed the mother with fresh liquid. She never killed her culture, she kept it alive for decades. And here's the best part. The more she made, the faster it grew. Vinegar multiplies. 1 jar becomes 10. Then it became trade currency. No refrigeration, no machines. Just air, fruit, and time. So start now. Save your apple peels. Mix sugar, water, and patience. Watch it come alive. Because when the world collapses and everything spoils, the one who knows how to turn waste into preservation feeds the whole town. Number 5, fire management, not just starting fires. Everyone brags about knowing how to start a fire. Starting one is easy. Keeping it alive, efficient, and clean, that's the real art your grandmother mastered. She didn't waste wood. She managed fire like a resource because it was one. 1 log could last her 8 hours. Yours? 30 minutes gone. That's the difference between surviving the night and freezing to death. Modern people light fires like children, big flames, quick burn, endless waste. Grandma built purpose fires, a low, steady banked fire to keep embers alive overnight. A cooking fire controlled heat, no smoke. A hot burn for boiling water fast. A signal fire when visibility meant rescue. Each built differently, each for a reason. Now the picture collapses. You're out of propane, no electricity, no fuel. Firewood is life, heat, light, cooking, protection. But if you burn it wrong, your stockpile disappears in weeks. Then what? Frostbite, hypothermia, death. Grandma knew the secret: coals, not flames. She'd let the fire burn down, rake embers close, and cover them with ash so they smoldered all night. In the morning, a single breath reignited warmth. No matches wasted, no fuel lost. She also knew wood by name. Oak for long heat, pine for kindling, birch for fast flame. She'd never burn green wood, she dried it seasons ahead. Her ash? Saved for soap, fertilizer, even lye water for cleaning. Nothing wasted. After collapse, the one who knows fire efficiency becomes a teacher, the person who keeps the entire group alive through winter. Wood will be currency. The one who makes it last 3 times longer controls survival. So don't just learn to spark a flame. Learn to tend it, feed it, and stretch it. Because when the world goes cold, it won't be the one who started the fire who survives. It'll be the one who knows how to make it last. Number 6. Egg. Preservation without refrigeration. Most people think raising chickens means they'll always have eggs. Your grandmother knew the truth when he stopped laying in winter. No sunlight, no eggs. And if you didn't prepare, you went months without that critical protein. But she had a secret. She knew how to preserve eggs for an entire year. No fridge, no power, no loss of nutrition. This isn't about stockpiling. It's about extending life, turning a short-lived food into a year-round resource. She used techniques so simple they seem like magic today. The best? Water glassing? Fresh, unwashed eggs sealed in a lime water solution, airtight, bacteria-proof. They stayed fresh for 9 to 12 months. She could open a jar in January and fry an egg from last spring, still perfect. Other methods worked too. A thin coat of lard or mineral oil sealed the pores, locking out oxygen. Some families packed eggs in salt or wood ash. The science was simple. Stop air, stop decay. But the results were life-saving. Now imagine grid down. No refrigerators, no grocery stores, no imports. Your hens stop laying in November and you've got nothing. That's when her knowledge becomes gold. In a collapse, eggs are more than food. They're currency, protein, fat, calcium, and trade value in one shell. A bucket of water-glassed eggs could buy medicine, tools, or security. The person who knows this process becomes the community's food banker. And here's the shocking part. Most people can't even start. They wash eggs, removing the natural seal, use store-bought ones, already days old, or mix the wrong lime ratio. Grandma never guessed. She knew exactly when to collect, clean, and seal. Precision built from repetition. You can learn it now. Get fresh eggs, pickling lime, and clean jars. Practice before winter. Because when your chickens stop laying and everyone's desperate for protein, you'll be the one cracking summer in the middle of snow. Number 7. Making rennet and cheese, from scratch. Most people buy store rennet, add milk, and think they've mastered it. But your grandmother? She made rennet itself the key enzyme that transforms milk into survival gold. When collapse hits, store-bought anything disappears. You might have a cow or goat producing gallons of milk, but without rennet, it all spoils in days. That's thousands of calories wasted unless you know what she knew. Rennet is the secret weapon of old-world survival. It's what separates liquid milk from solid, storable protein. She could make it 3 ways. From a calf's stomach, dried and steeped in salt water. From wild thistle flowers, crushed and soaked to release plant enzymes. Or from fig sap, tapped from a backyard tree. That's ancient biochemistry. No labs, no bottles, just instinct and timing. Once she had rennet, she turned milk into cheese that lasted months, even years. Fresh ricotta for short-term meals, hard wax cheeses like cheddar and parmesan for winter trade. She understood temperature, timing, and texture no thermometer needed. She could tell by the curd's sound when cut whether it would age right. After collapse, that knowledge is wealth. While others watch milk sour, she's pressing blocks of food that never spoil. Cheese becomes portable protein, barter currency, and comfort food rolled into one. One wheel could trade for a month of grain or tools. Here's what makes it powerful. Milk is temporary, but cheese is permanent nutrition. It's the difference between wasting resources and multiplying them. You can't YouTube your way to that kind of mastery. You learn it by standing beside her, feeling the curd, smelling the shift, tasting the change. So while she's still alive, ask her to teach you. Because when the grid's gone and milk's running down the drain, the person who can turn it into cheese that lasts for years won't just survive, they'll rule the pantry. Number 8. Mushroom cultivation and identification. Alright, so most people think mushrooms are risky, something you buy, not grow. Big mistake. Your grandmother knew mushrooms weren't dangerous, they were dinner. In a world without meat or refrigeration, mushrooms meant protein, medicine, and survival all grown in the dark. She didn't need fancy kits or sterile labs. She used logs, sawdust, and spore prints collected from the forest. She could turn a damp basement or shaded shed into a food factory that produced for years. Now picture a collapse. No meat, no imports, no protein source. You're living on grains and canned beans. Weak, malnourished, desperate. That's when the person who can grow edible mushrooms safely, reliably, and sustainably becomes priceless. She knew the difference between food and poison at a glance. She could spot deadly amanita from harmless oyster or shiitake. She knew that birds pecking at a cap meant it was safe, that white gills usually meant danger. She didn't guess she knew through decades of foraging, tasting, and teaching, and she didn't stop at food. She grew medicinal mushrooms, reishi, turkey tail, lion's mane, natural antibiotics, and immune boosters. In a post-collapse world with no pharmacy, that's not a supplement, that's a lifeline. One fallen log could feed a family for 5 years. One jar of spores could start a village farm, and the person who controls that knowledge controls protein itself. Most people overlook mushrooms. Too weird, too risky, but when hunger hits, they'll beg the one who knows which grows, which heals, and which kills. So learn it now. Study spores, practice cultivation, and walk the woods with someone who still remembers. Because when the meat's gone and the fields are empty, the one who grows in the dark becomes the light. Number 9. Natural fiber processing. Your grandmother didn't buy fabric, she made it. From plants, flax, hemp, nettle weeds to you, clothing to her. Before factories, every shirt, rope, and sheet came from hands like hers. She could take a stalk of flax and through patience and precision turn it into linen, cool, strong, antibacterial fabric that lasted decades. She didn't need machines. She needed time, skill, and rhythm. Now imagine post-collapse. No stores, no textiles. Your clothes tear, your blankets rot, your rope frays. You can't replace them. But your grandmother could rebuild them from the earth itself. She'd soak harvested stalks in water to loosen fibers, retting, beat them to separate strands, breaking, scrape them clean, scutching, and comb them smooth, hackling. Then she'd spin thread with a spindle and weave cloth tight enough to survive a generation. Every step is slow, every step is essential, no waste, no imports, just nature turned into necessity. Hemp gave her rope strong enough to tow wagons. Flax gave her linen that outlasted cotton by years. Nettle, soft and durable, became fabric when nothing else grew. She was her own clothing factory, silent, steady, unstoppable. In a world where clothes wear out and factories are gone, that skill is priceless. Fabric becomes gold, thread becomes trade. The one who can spin from plants doesn't just survive, they supply everyone else. Learn it now. Grow flax in your backyard. Study how to process, spin, and weave. Because when the world runs out of fabric, the person who can make it from weeds becomes untouchable. If you've made it this far, you already feel it. The clock is ticking. Stockpiles run out. Skills don't. That's the whole point of this series. Right now, somewhere in your family, a pair of steady hands can turn trash into food, weeds into clothing, and scraps into tools. In 10 years, those hands may be gone, and with them, 1,000 tiny decisions that keep people alive when the lights go out. So here's your move. Pick one skill from today, anyone, and learn it this week. Render a small jar of lard. Darn a sock until the hole disappears. Start a jar of vinegar from apple peels. Bank a fire and wake it with one breath. Water glass 10 eggs. Make a crude spindle and twist thread from weeds. Document it. Teach one person. If you want the full, step-by-step breakdowns, mistakes to avoid, and printable checklists for every skill, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. I'm dropping deep dives, live Q&A with real grandmothers. Modern comfort made us soft. Practice makes you dangerous in the best way. Learn now while failure is cheap. Because when failure gets expensive, it's already too late. Start today, don't wait, train, subscribe, share this with someone you'd trust in a blackout. Let's rebuild the chain before the last link breaks. Number 10, herbal medicine and natural healing. Your grandmother healed with her backyard. To her, every plant had a purpose: food, medicine, or both. She knew willow bark eased pain long before aspirin existed. Chamomile calmed nerves. Garlic killed the infection. Dandelion cleaned the liver. While modern people saw weeds, she saw a pharmacy silent, growing, waiting. Now imagine a world after collapse. Pharmacies looted. Hospitals closed. No antibiotics, no painkillers, no bandages. A cut becomes infected. A fever spikes. A toothache turns deadly. That's when her forgotten knowledge becomes priceless. She didn't Google symptoms. She listened to coughs, to color, to smell. She made teas, poultices, and tinctures. Dried leaves for winter, stored oils in dark bottles, labeled roots by moonlight. Every shelf in her kitchen was a survival kit disguised as jars. In a collapsing world, the healer doesn't beg people to come to her. They trade food, protection, anything for relief from pain. And she never runs out because her medicine grows back every spring. Learn the plants around you. Identify 5, then 10, because when the pharmacies go dark and pain returns to the earth, the one who knows the plants becomes the doctor.